Hello, everyone. I'm Isaac from Isaac and Friends. Just to let you know, this whole thing is scripted because I'm ADHD and on the spectrum. If I don't script this, it'll turn into an incoherent mess. Today, I will tell you about the 4 boxes that control your life. Odds are you've never heard of these 4 boxes on the screen now as a mock up of an accounting sheet. You will note 4 different boxes on it. The 4 boxes are income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. Whether you know it or not, these 4 boxes control everything in your life. Each is fairly self-explanatory. Income is money you earn from your job. It came from other sources like shares in companies you own. That form of income is passive income, as you don't have to work for it physically. Things like actually mentioned before, owning dividend-bearing shares, rental properties, businesses, and modern-day YouTube channels that are monetized, you don't have to show up to earn this kind of income. Expenses are costs incurred from loans, credit cards, gas, food, and maintenance of a house or car. Liabilities are loans, credit cards, vehicles, and non-rental properties used as housing. In short, anything that isn't a living thing that it adds to the expense box. Assets are anything that pays you for owning them and increasing your income. I covered a few of these already when I talked about the income box. A common mythos about this box has people adding their house that they live in or live in and don't rent out, or cars they drive. This is because a perceived increase in market value, however, that's not guaranteed, and while you own them, they add it to your expenses, not to your income, making them liabilities. You're probably asking how these boxes control your life. Well, the answer is that the way your money flows through these boxes determines how well your life goes, and even if you can accomplish the dreams that you've set for yourself, especially if you will have financial freedom. Because people aren't aware of these boxes existing, their money flows directly from their income box into liabilities and expenses. Worse, they will build their expenses and liabilities believing they are building assets. Even worse than that, people have an unfortunate habit of borrowing more money when they get an increase in their income from work. This is even worse. This even worse habit has a greater impact on their living conditions and the value of their income than inflation. For example, 10 years ago I made 7.25 an hour. Today I earn 13.26 an hour. Almost double my income 10 years ago. However, my living standards haven't improved. Is this inflation? No. 10 years ago, I had $0 in debt, and the expenses I had was literally gas and insurance on my car that was around $200 a month. Now, I owe $6,000 in credit card debt, for which I pay around $300 a month. I have an internet bill of $84 a month. I have a power bill of $81, and the rent sits around $680 to $700 depending on water and sewage. The reason my living conditions haven't improved is with that increase in wages, my expenses and liabilities increased. Some of these expenses are things you can't avoid, like housing or utilities. You can work to keep them reasonably low, but you will have them no matter what. As far as loan goes, however, no one is putting a gun to the back of your head and saying you have to borrow money. Well, I do agree that in the U.S., how it's built, owning a car is somewhat necessary. However, there are ways to minimize these sort of expenses, buying a car secondhand from private individuals or borrowing the minimum amount needed. This is an example of working around such expenses. As for school loans, it is imperative to only take them out if you know for certain you will be employed at a job where paying them off is relatively easy. An example is going to driving school to earn a CDL or commercial driver's license. A good chunk of trucking companies will actually pay for the school themselves, and driving an 18-wheeler is very lucrative, but very lonely too. Not much of a work-life balance there. My old man is a truck driver, and he earns hearty $96,000 a year. Whew. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Not as much as like 180, but still pretty up there. The school for a CD, well, normally costs around 2, maybe 5K. Sometimes it'll go up to like 10 or 20, but like I said, most companies are going to pay that for you. Why does any of this matter? Well, think about it in this terms. The lower a person's expenses are, the lower the cost it is for them to be financially free. Someone working at McDonald's that starts building assets will have an easier time building wealth than a doctor or a lawyer. That's because their expenses are lower, and so long as those expenses are covered, any extra money they make can be invested into assets that will make them additional cash. Another example is me. As a YouTuber, for me to go full-time on YouTube, I would only need to make $2K a month. If that were to start happening, I would continue to work my retail job for another 3 to 4 months, using the income to pay off my credit cards entirely, maybe even longer to invest that money to stabilize my finances, thereby lowering my expenses and making that money have that much more impact. I would also, of course, like I said, invest that money in cheap, stable, dividend-bearing shares to increase that income even further. A different YouTuber, however, especially if they went to college, would need around $8,000 to $10,000 a month from YouTube to go full-time. All of this is because we as people have gained a nasty habit. The more money we earn, the more expenses and liabilities we incur. Our minds go into being able to afford payments on loans for things without considering the full impact that might have. Top this off with society's programming us to have the shiniest cars, the biggest houses, and the newest, shiniest toys. And you have a recipe for disaster. What happens all too often is someone gets a raise and all they can think of is how they can now make the payments on the shinier new car they want. However, what this is doing is it makes a raise mean nothing, because now you've increased your expenses, so you won't feel like anything's actually ever changed. This creates a cycle that, if left unchanged, there will never be a wage high enough that will make anyone feel satisfied. Employers know this, and that is one of the reasons it's such a pain to get a raise from an employer. To an employer, they're already paying you what you're worth. They're not concerned with what they see or perceive as self-induced expenses, and will often expect you to know how money works. Perhaps even expecting you to understand the 4 boxes, even though none of this is covered in traditional education. This is not to deride anyone, but ask yourself, is it the money you want or what you believe the money will bring? To get away from doom and gloom, there is hope. The trick is, instead of rushing to buy that fancy new house or car, you buy assets that generate passive income. Then use the passive income to buy the things you want instead. It's a longer game, but more rewarding in the end. Not only do you get the money to buy what you want, but because you still own those assets, you still get all the passive income afterward, which helps with upkeep and fortifying your finances. This way, even if you lose your job, you won't be as likely to lose your car, house, or whatever else you use the assets' passive income to pay for. This is the true trick of the 4 boxes, understanding how money flows through them and having your income go into assets that then cover the expenses. Stabilizing your financial life, and by the way, the neat fact is finance is the primary source of arguments among couples. Not relevant to the conversation, just something I figured I would share as my ADHD brain won't zip it. The next trick, of course, is keeping that money in your own pocket, not in Uncle Sam's. Now, I'm not suggesting Al Caponing it and committing tax fraud. If you do start investing, your next step should be to get an accountant. Good accountants know tax codes like the back of their hands, finding deductions and legal loopholes that will save you a lot of money. If you're not comfortable with making decisions in the stock market, I advise getting a broker. Make sure this is someone you can trust. And more specifically, make sure this is a person that you can meet in person so that you can see their eyes, see who they are. And by them seeing who you are, they might be more inclined to treat you better and to work with you more to achieve what your goals are. And of course, you personally knowing them will help you have more faith in their recommendations as opposed to a stranger on the internet. Above all else, seek a professional financial advisor if you can. Seeking a professional financial advisor will help you figure out what assets are within your range and make a plan to obtain them. By doing all of this, not only will you figure out how these 4 boxes work, and by essentially, hopefully, this has helped you understand a little bit about these 4 boxes and why they pretty much control your whole life. Ignoring them pretty much can cause people to live in poverty all their lives, forever complaining that they're never able to afford what they want. In reality, what they want is literally there to grasp. So, I hope that this video helps you guys. With that, I end the video and ask you, my viewers, to subscribe or follow me if you're on YouTube or TikTok. It doesn't matter. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below to see what you think. And of course, leave a like, dislike, whatever suits your fancy. As long as you're willing to help us really grow as a channel, I am very grateful to you as a subscriber and as a viewer. So thanks for watching, everybody. Isaac from Isaac and Friends out. Take care.